Test, test, test. Testing, testing. One, two. Hmm. I think I was muted this entire time. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Harvey Estrada. I'm your host. This is Bonifacia. She is your co-host. Um, I was. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and pull up this PowerPoint. Let's see. I've never live streamed before, so this is all new to me. All right. And so the first principle of Hermeticism, the principle of mentalism, it says that the all is mind, the universe is mental. And what that means is that uh, whoa, wait a minute. Is it just me or is this? Nope, it's overlapped. I don't know what happened here. But it means that. Wow. Look at that. That's so freaky. Um, that consciousness is fundamental, and um, this thing threw me off. Consciousness is fundamental. It's not produced in the brain, which I think up to this point, everyone. Well, I don't want to say everyone, but I feel like we've kind of just gotten under the assumption that it is produced in the brain, that it arises from complexity, from years, hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. Ugh, let me get myself a drink. Of evolution. And I don't think that's it. I think so and I guess the source is trust me, bro, right? But when I first learned of the seven hermetic principles, I really resonated with them. It just felt like this deep truth that I knew in my soul to be correct. And so I guess take everything I say with a grain of salt, or a barrel of salt. But yeah, this is my belief, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So anyway, in 1807, Thomas Young published the results of the double slit experiment, or double split experiment. The experiment was done to show whether light was made out of waves or particles, and it's been replicated thousands of times by now, and the results are always consistent. It behaves as a particle when observed, and as waves when it's not observed. There's also been variations that use neutrons, atoms, and other things, and have also had the same results, meaning that everything in physical existence has both a wave nature and a particle nature. A wave when unobserved, and particle when observed. Okay. Um, so there was this experiment done in the 1970s. I really don't know what happened with this thing. Okay, I'm just gonna exit this thing. Oh, you know what? That's better. In the 1970s, the Maharishi University did a study across 24 cities in the U.S., and the criteria for those cities was that 1% of the population did transcendental meditation, focusing on peace. And over the course of a few months, I think it might have been like 7 months or so, more or less, five or seven, um, 5 or 10 months. I have to go back on that. I don't want to lie to you. Um, but over a certain amount of time, crime decreased by 16%. And then there was a follow up study that they did in DC. This was in 1993. It was a total of 4,000 people that were meditating, and they predicted a 20% reduction in crime. And when the results came in, it was actually higher. It was 23.3%. And they realized that the effect grew as the number of meditators grew. So the more of meditators, focus on peace, the more crime was reduced. The Global Consciousness Project is a group. I think it's a nonprofit. Um, let's see. Texas Hobby says there was an article I skimmed through today that said they discovered that magnetism was what made the particles behave differently. I'll try to look for it now. Oh yeah, yeah. Let's get that in the chat if we can. We can read it. Okay, so Global Consciousness Project. So they have servers around the world that with RNGs, random number generators, and what they do is they produce ones and zeros, and they produce ones and zeros pretty evenly. It's a 50-50 split. But they've noticed there's, in the data that during catastrophes like 9/11 or moments of collective joy like New Year, the RNGs differed from the standard deviation, meaning that they changed. They were different. They weren't 50-50. They were they skewed one way or another, um, by a statistically significant amount. And so that's, kind of if not if not outright proof, definitely supporting evidence that the principle of mentalism is right. That it is, consciousness is fundamental, and that's why it affects the physical world, around us. So, what is reality? Everything that we see around us as physical objects, including our own bodies, are mostly empty space. We know this. My wife is telling me that if oh no, I'm gonna get it wrong. Um, I think if we take the entire, nope, I'm gonna get it wrong. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. Um, so anyway, what we see in physical reality is just atoms vibrating really fast that they seem solid enough that we register them as physical. And I mean, it's really easy to trick the brain, really, because we only see 0.0035% of reality. So if you flip that, you can say we only, like, 99.65, or no, 99.9965. I think I have it wrong there. Is what's, all of that is invisible to us, and so we think of ourselves as physical beings. If we subscribe to the idea of souls, we think of ourselves as physical beings that have souls, but really, we are souls that have physical bodies. I think we exist primarily as incorporeal beings. We're not physical. This is okay. So there was this quote from this. What was it? It was some Chinese philosophy, and it said something to the effect of, like, when I go to sleep and I have a dream, and in my dream I'm a butterfly, and then I wake up, am I really the man dreaming I'm a butterfly, or am I the butterfly dreaming I'm a man? And I think that's what we that's kind of what, we're where we're at, I think, with a lot of people that they're starting to see, like, okay, maybe I'm not this thing, and maybe I'm the other thing, and this physical reality is not what it seems. It's the Hindus called it Maya. So it's a illusion, right? You can call it a matrix or simulation. Um, and when you wake up to it, it doesn't really last long. It's because it's so easy to fall back into the the what am I gonna have for dinner? Did I turn off the stove? And how did the Green Power Ranger play his dagger flute while wearing a helmet? The all the important questions that keep us up at night. And so, what are the implications of the universe, realities, being mental, right? And immediately I'm drawn to, like, mind over matter, right? There's psychic phenomena like remote viewing, telepathy, all of that stuff. There's plenty of videos of people doing this stuff. Like, you just go to, like, Instagram, and you could say, like, well, maybe they're using wind or whatever. But there's this lady that has a cup over the thing, and she's like, still, it's moving, and it's moving, with her movements and stuff. And then you could say, well, maybe it's edited. Well, maybe, who knows? But you kind of have to at some point look around and see all the crazy shit that's happening, like telepathy tapes, and kind of you know let go of whatever rigidity you're holding on to, just because everything that we were told is not real suddenly turns out to maybe, yeah, it is, might be real. um, I forgot where I was going with that. um, as you can see, this is absolutely complete masterpiece of PowerPoint. But I was going to talk about channeling next. So there's this one dude named Daryl Anka. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's been channeling, I think, for like 40 years or so, and I know there's a documentary of him. I can't remember what it's called, but they strap him to this like medical device, this thing where they see his brain activity while he's channeling, and when he goes into the channeling state, the part of his brain that deals with like the person, like his personality, that thing just turns off, and so there's something else that is that is that basically takes over. What is it, Boniface? That takes over when he's channeling, and I have to watch it, but there was a mention also of like of the brain functioning at I don't know how many cycles, like being like as a base for like people, for most people, for everyone. But then when he's in the channeling state, that the brain cycles kind of just go through the roof, and so there's kind of a change that's happening there. Kevin was we're talking channeling. Sounds great, but the video is buried. But oh yeah, um, this is not a professional operation. First of all, let's see. I honestly don't even know what I'm doing. Honestly, no, it's probably just the camera itself. I probably need a better camera. This is old. Um, the computer itself is pretty old too. Just chilling with Bonifacio here. Goose, good what? Goose to be part of the chat. Absolutely. I mean the letters, like when you type. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Well, that's the end of the PowerPoint anyway. Um, but I just kind of you don't want to talk about like where do you guys um, how do you guys feel about these changes? I feel like for the longest time we were told like no, this is like complete fantasy, and then all of a sudden telepathy tapes comes out, and then there's people doing all sorts of crazy shit, um, astral projection, astral travel, and so I think that's good. Good to talk about for this topic, actually, to the principle of mentalism. Um, so remote viewing is one of I think one of my uh, interests that I kind of been wanting to give it a try. I've been thinking about it a lot, and when I think about like the principle of mentalism, like how does this work? Well, if you think about it, if everything is mind, everything is connected through through the mind, and mind itself, is I guess what we would call awareness, and awareness itself is all that is. I guess you could call it the all, or God, or whatever name you want to call it, the Matrix. Um, and so since we are a manifestation of it, a kind of a fractal of it. We're connected to the whole thing, and so that's how we can have information from whatever, wherever. Um, but then and it turns out, like it's another thing that, like a skill. It's another skill that we have to sharpen, right? So it's not, um, probably not going to be great at first. You just have to work at it, and I guess if you compare it to like music or art, like some people are born with kind of a more of a predisposition to do one or the other. They kind of just carry that thing. Um, for some people, music comes easy. For some people, art comes easy. And I suspect in the same way for some people, like the psychic stuff, remote viewing or whatever, or for sure like astral travel, what other thing? I feel the shots we all took that you're causing all kind of things. Maybe, maybe that's a good thing to point out. I guess. I don't know. I took two of the Moderna. I did it. I gave into the fear. Well, that's a that was a long time ago, and I'm not dead now, and I haven't really developed any powers that I can think of. Why would it be happening at the same time? I think it has to do with. Have you all looked into the astrologers? Looking into something about the age of Aquarius, bringing in um, basically um, a new cycle. I think that's a big part of it there, because I think, okay, so if you want to talk about astrology, that brings up the principle of correspondence, right? As above, so below. There's that reality kind of like a fractal kind of reflects in a whole bunch of different areas of life, and one of the things being astrology. And I think a lot of people have it wrong when they say, or when they um, um, that when they say that the planets have influence over us. I don't think they have influence over us. I think it's very much that it's a reflection of us. And so, when they make those predictions and stuff, it's not because you're that you don't have any sort of agency in your life, that you're kind of just being tossed around by planets or whatever. Um, but I think it's very much um, uh, kind of a cycle that's going on through, sociologically, and then also in our personal lives, that reflect in the stars. Yeah, like we causing certain vibratory states in our DNA, syncing up to the vibration of the planetary cycles in this particular state. Perhaps, maybe that's a good idea. What do you think, Boniface? It's embedded in our cell, eons existing on this plane. What's embedded? The shots? The COVID-19 shots? What is it, Boniface? Am I getting too close to the truth? Don't betray me. You better not betray me. Anyway, what was I talking about? Um, no to the what? No to the instinct to vibrate according to planetary cycles. Bunny, I was talking to my dog, my cat dog. Say hi to Bonifacia. Boniface's little purring machine. Okay, bye. Um, it's a joke. Okay, it's not easy to read humor through chat. Uh, but yeah, so are there any um, sort of psychic gifts or anything you guys have been looking into? Looked into remote viewing more though. Yeah, that's a fun one, man. Kevin, that's another one that like that is one that I absolutely do want to kind of see if I'm good at, right off the bat, or at least good enough to pursue, without having to go like completely uphill. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Dreams. Uh, I've had some pretty crazy dreams too. There's one I mentioned in the video earlier. The one that set me down this path basically was just a symbol. Uh, I've never had anything like that before. That was pretty crazy. And then I had another one, around the time that my daughter was born, and it was really powerful. I remember. So I was standing outside. It was like a party going on, and but I was kind of separated from the party. I was like by the street. I was looking up. Can you draw that simple? I Yeah. Let me see if I can. What is this? Notepad. Let's see. I can't draw. Well, it wasn't very intricate. It was actually just looked like kind of like a capital letter M. I've been trying to develop dream interpretation. Yeah, so that's a good skill to have, for sure, moving forward. And I've actually wanted to do the same. Only problem is I've been smoking a lot at night, and that kind of just kills your dreams. And so I haven't really written any dreams down lately. But yeah, man, something that helped me interpret my dreams was actually ChatGPT. Um, I I asked him kind of help me out to interpret it with with like a Jungian kind of frame, because Jung worked a lot with symbols and stuff like that. Maybe that's why I don't remember any of mine. Yeah, that I know for sure. That's why I don't remember any of them. Because also when I've been, I guess, sober in the latter half of the day, where it doesn't really affect my dreaming. Uh, I have had some pretty vivid dreams. So for sure, I know for sure, with me that is the case. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was talking. So there was this dream that I had, um, where there was this party going on with my family, and I was kind of separated from the family. I was by the street. I was looking up, just like stargazing, and I remember seeing these kind of swirling lights in the sky, and it looked kind of like a almost like a UFO kind of thing, but it was like several lights, in a circle, and it was going around, for kind of just like zigzagging, very fast, and it would stop, and it would like shine this spotlight, and like it was looking for something, and it kept going back and forth, and it went over to like where the party was, and I was kind of looking up like, whoa, like that's crazy, and like no one seemed to like see it or pay attention. Um, and there was this other one that kind of came from like an opposite direction, and eventually, so they met together, the two different lights, and there was kind of like this clashing and like this like thundering battle that was going on. And then there's a big lightning bolt where one of them goes down, and it reveals to be like some sort of like, it was like a white, like a large white dragon. And then the second one comes down, and it was a black dragon, and they were fighting it out. um, and I saw this happen, like, in front of me. And towards the end of the dream, the it kind of went through kind of the action scenes you find that are kind of related to like the hero's journey, where there's like a winning, and then it's losing, and then it seems like all is lost, and then it comes up and it wins, it rises, whatever. And that's kind of how that battle went. um, and so I put in this dream to ChatGPT, and it helped me kind of decode it. And it felt pretty good. It definitely seemed like it was the right interpretation, at least for me. Maybe if I see the symbol, I could take it into my dream. Okay, I'll send you something later on. Whoa, you didn't tell me about the dragons. Yeah, that actually happened. Yeah, that happened. Um, that one I didn't really share with anyone. Um, but yeah, that one was pretty crazy too. And that's really the only two kind of dreams that I've had that kind of felt like they were very symbolic in that sense. Um, Everything else has been just like mundane dreams, or every now and then I'll have like a vivid dream, but not like symbolic. I'm over here telling you about my dragons. You didn't mention a word. I was now you got me embarrassed. No, I was just, taking in the information. I wasn't, I don't know. Glad you mentioned it though. Try just blazing in the AM. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna try to do, because um, I've been trying to be more what's the word, um, what's the word, bird, 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 bird is a word, bird, bird, bird. Um, Jesus. Oh, like uh, more intentional, I guess. Mindful, yes, that could be that's a good one too. But intentional, really. In order to dream, we need a deeper sleep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's also kind of hard, because I do end up waking up at night, because of my baby wakes up. She sometimes, she's uh, um, like, she'll want milk or whatever, and that kind of disrupts the sleep too. And it's not like I can help that. So to some extent, I just kind of let it go, and whatever happens happens. Um, Sometimes I do have more dreams closer to the morning, whenever I wake up. If I do wake up at night, because I think something that really helps me is I do have a CPAP machine. And so I plug it in. I get a bunch of oxygen, and that helps me not knock out, for sure. Let me grab a charger. So ever since anything, try the 4 melatonin method. What's the 4 melatonin method? I've had melatonin before. I stopped using it because it put me in this real weird, like, almost like a depressive state. It was very weird. Like I would wake up and um, I didn't I didn't feel like doing anything. I just wanted to go back to sleep, even if I wasn't actually like tired or like I'd woken up, I had a good like 7 8 hours of sleep, and I still felt like I wanted to knock out. And so yeah, very groggy. I was very groggy. Um, yeah, it wasn't for me, and then I come to find out that actually our bodies produce like, what is it, like 2 or 3 tenths of whatever the dose that comes in actually is, because I think the dose is like 10 milligrams or something like that, and our brains naturally produce something like 2 to 3. And so I think that also doesn't really help. But I'm pretty sure if there's any like lower doses that's not necessarily like crazy, um, maybe that could help. And also, one tip that I've gotten for melatonin is that it's really good to really set your circadian rhythm back on track. Not necessarily as like a long term solution. It's kind of just like a jump start. If you mess up your sleep cycle, you can get yourself back on track. Um, but yeah, I haven't had a need for it, I guess. Um, Especially since I got the CPAP, because it really helps. It really helps me knock out. That dude, Chase Hughes, swears by 100 million. What? As a healing remedy. I don't know. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. It's like a hundred milligrams of melatonin. I mean, that might just put you to sleep for like a month. At that point, might as well be cured. You won't be uh, uh, you won't be cognizant for the next month or so. But who knows? That's crazy. Superdose and dreamt stuff. What? Yeah, it is pretty extreme. I don't know. I have a toddler that I have to make sure stays alive, so I can't really. I don't think I would trust myself to like take that much melatonin, even as it is. Like, what is it, like 3 nights ago, or maybe 2 or 3 nights ago? Um, my baby woke up, and I was in bed. My wife was in the living room. She was like drawing or whatever, and I was like asleep. It was like 12:30 or so, and my baby wakes up and she's crying, and I'm like knocked out. I didn't hear a word. My wife had to like come in and like pick her up and put her in the bed, and like rock her to sleep, and like I was completely zonked, like I was just out of it. So, and that's just like natural. And so if with 100 milligrams of melatonin, I feel like, I don't know, the apartment could burn down and I'll be just knocked out. So that's more of a recreational, I have like 2 days away from my baby kind of thing, which is probably not going to happen until, oh, who knows. CPAP plus at least 10 milligrams of sleep. Ate that this hell. A sleep aid? Like, what's that? ZQL? ZQL is interesting. Because, like, they took NyQuil and kind of just took off the medicine and just, I don't know. Yeah, that's a remedy I wouldn't want to try. No, sleep aid is not addictive. Oh, okay. That's good to know. It's not addictive. I wonder though, is if a good sleep itself is addictive, would that make you addicted to it? Because let me tell you, I've had some good sleep. I've had some real good sleep, especially before my baby was born. It feels like a faraway memory by now, but I'm pretty sure. Knowing my lazy ass, maybe. You just like knocked out, just pop them like candy. You wake up, oh, I'm hungry. I don't want to. I don't want to cook though. Let's go back to sleep. Now that kind of good step, get kind of good sleep makes you wake up with a pep in your step. Yeah, the kind of sleep you don't need coffee for. That coffee scene's coming up. So, have you guys? So have you guys been looking into the telepathy and stuff like that? Do you guys um, or I know the remote viewing for sure. Um, we could probably set up targets for each other and kind of try it out. I know there's different kinds of remote viewing. There's the active or active remote viewing, I think it was. Then there's controlled remote viewing. There's scientific remote viewing, SRV. I try to meditate on it all the time. Like with targets, do you mean, or do you choose um, do you choose a specific location or time, and you just try to meditate on it? I know there's I know there's a Reddit remote viewing page that they have. I don't know if they still do, but they have targets that you can like practice targets that you can remote view, and so there it gives you like a few numbers. I think it was like four numbers or two 4-digit numbers, um, and they're tied to like this picture or this specific area, and you try to do the remote viewing, and then you go back to the page, and you see uh, what the target actually was, and so the idea is you try it out, and then you um, yeah, you go back to it. I don't know. I've tried, but I actually ended up just looking at the targets. I was trying to learn chess, and I would get the motions. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, so that's a really good really good strategy, because everything that we do in our imagination, in our brain, the brain registers it as if it actually happened. It's the same process happens to it as when we actually experience something. And so, and I think Neville Goddard talks about that in Awakened Imagination. It's a really good book. Um, and so, but while dreaming, whoa, while dreaming, you're doing that. That's kind of crazy. Did you learn chess from that? That's so cool. Is that okay? So there's that reminds me of something. There was this method for learning in your dreams. That sounds like it. Is that what it was? Did you do that consciously, or did that just happen? That's a good question. Wow, dreaming. Um, so I know what happened where you were dreaming, but I was just to finish the thought there. Whenever you imagine something, your brain registers it as if it actually happened, and then at the very end of the day, or when you're dreaming, rather, your brain goes over the things that you did during the day, including the thing that you were imagining, and it repeats them like a lot of times, and so it imprints it, and it becomes uh, um, kind of like a real memory, and that informs then your skill, and so you actually get better. You can get better like that. It's like receiving downloads during the meditation or session. Oh, okay. Prep myself just diving into chess. Wow, that's cool. Videos, books, and etc. Whoa, I'm gonna do that. I need to. I need to try that. That's awesome. Um, as I fall asleep, to continue doing it. Ah, nice. You still have to learn the basics. Yeah, your brain. Mm, yeah. Um, I get it. So I'm gonna try that. I've been learning the symbols on the tarot. Because I've been wanting to learn them. I've actually been drawn to them for a very long time, and I go back to them like every few years. I'd go back, and buy a, a deck. But then every time that I would, every booklet is different, and so I was kind of just uh, every time I would end up more confused than I started with, and so every time I would pick it up and I would drop it every time. And this time around, I figured instead of learning each card individually one by one, I'm just gonna learn which is the better way. I'm just gonna learn the symbolism behind it so that I can actually learn how to read them. It helps you connect the dots faster, more efficiently. Yeah, that sounds cool. I think I'm gonna make a Discord server next so we can send some remote viewing targets. Um, what comes easier? What comes easier to you? I don't know honestly. That's what I'm trying to figure out because I've tried remote viewing with ChatGPT. Gave me some targets and I've tried it, and I've kind of got uh, kind of a sensation for um, uh, like kind of the senses that come in. Um, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Lessons come easier. Honestly, I have no clue because I don't think I'm I don't think I'm drawn to like the telekinesis, like watching the people move stuff. Um, if anything, maybe remote viewing or maybe telepathy, maybe communication or healing. I think that one. Um, I think that might be what draws me in the most. Um, Channeling, not so much. Maybe uh, uh, automatic writing. I guess that's a kind of channeling. Um, but I don't know if that would come easy to me because I feel like when I write, it's very deliberate. It's very slow, and I don't think that lends itself to like the automatic writing stuff because you kind of just have to take off, and then at some point the I guess the gamma state takes over. Um, so I don't know. Who knows? Um, maybe it's the tarot. Who knows? Because that is something that has really called me for a long time, and and I've realized that as studying them, um, it's a lot of different symbolism from different what's it call it like different modalities, if you want to call it that. Like there, some cards have ties to like astrology, some numbers, right, numerology, and so it's kind of one big umbrella that contains like a whole lot of shit. And maybe it's that because it's when I'm learning it, it doesn't really feel like a job. It doesn't really feel like it's uh, um, like a drag. Like I want to learn it, and so it's been pretty fun. Um, yeah, so I've been studying that, and I kind of I want to do readings for other people. For practice. I like to see things from biblical stance. One of the gifts is tongues, but I see it like languages maybe can come second nature to you. Yeah, probably. That's my suspicion. Because I think of like or like when I first joined a band in middle school, like it was something that kind of it interested me, and I wasn't like uh, um, like I wasn't really expecting much of it, but I ended up having a lot of fun, and it it ended up being a large part of my childhood, I guess, in school or school career, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I definitely think that's definitely part of it. I just have to dive in and see how well I acclimate to it. Um, so yeah, so I've been looking into like Reiki and stuff like that. Like I think healing might be something that I might be good at. Because I've done massage before. I went to massage school, um, and I did pretty good. I got my certification, but I never got my license because I didn't finish my hours. Um, but I liked it. It was fun. Um, I don't know. I need to learn how to put the chat on the screen. Do, 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 do. Have you guys heard of the reality split that's going to happen that people are talking about? No. Um, Look it up, man. That's some crazy shit. So apparently, um, oh, say that again. The reality split. So there's this. Uh, um, there's I think two potentials that the world is kind of gravitating towards, uh, um, and it has to do with the raising of the vibrations. So if like the there's a group, I guess, that's going into moving into 4D, and then there's one that's staying in 3D, and so the difference is gonna be so much that it's gonna, reality is gonna split. And I've heard it from a few different sources, um, mostly channelers and psychics. Um, I would look it up, man. I don't I don't know if I can explain it properly, because it's sure it's pretty complicated, but it has to do with the age of Aquarius that I had mentioned before. Coming in, changing things up, moving into a new epoch, uh, um, and so I think that's why all of this is happening. Where people are waking up to their psychic gifts, and um, the world around us is also kind of shifting and changing, and there's kind of that I think there's like a power struggle going on, um, and I think the world is going to change pretty radically, um, in the next few years, and I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think we are going to move into a more um, uh, um, balanced way, I guess, of doing things, as opposed to the how the corrupt governments all over the world are handling things. I think it's going to get better. Um, I don't know how, um, but I have faith, I guess you could call it. Isn't the fourth basically that we're using when we shift around the ether, and the fourth is like interdimensional beings and phantoms, etc.? No. Um, Fourth. Okay, so that's where I'm not sure if I'm right. It's the fourth or fifth density. I think they call it. I think it's fourth density. And so it's different. It's a different density of vibration, and so it's, I guess you could call it a different dimension or not. Um, but it's a different vibration, to where we stop experiencing stuff that happens in the third density, which is where we exist, which is where all the fear and hate and all this other shit happens. I think when we fully move on to the next density vibration, we're going to be all more interconnected in a sense, because we already are, right, but I mean more aware of it, to where we're it's gonna be like a second. It's gonna be like, just a nature, natural to us, to just uh, be of service to others, doing whatever we love to do. Um, so it's gonna, I think it's gonna create, I think, this perfect, you could say, this perfect world where it's kind of like what I described in the dreams and rabbit holes, where people just, they follow their passion and they do their thing, and everything, synchronizes in a perfect way that kind of, um, uh, um, just makes things happen, I guess, for everyone. So I think there's enough people out there that, like, who their thing is to, like, go out there and forage and do, and, like, look for stuff, look for mushrooms, look for plants, look for, whatever. There's enough people whose passion is to take those things and make medicines, make plants. There's enough, make, like medicines, or like ointments, or any of that, kind of stuff. And I think there's enough people out there whose, like, passion is to, like, cook for others. There's enough people out there who, like, just love, helping and serving people. And so I think all of this, just comes together in perfect synchronicity, and uh, um, we could live in balance with in harmony with nature, and, like, everyone does, like, whatever they're, um, whatever they're called to do is, like, whatever they love to do, and and uh, and like, no one goes without, like every, again, like, as we raise our vibration, like, one of the things you notice is that there's more synchronicities happening, and they kind of just, they happen, like, I remember recently, like, I was talking to my wife about getting my daughter a book on sharing, because she was getting to the stage where, she was toddling, playing around with other kids or whatever, and she was getting to the stage where it's, uh, where she's, like, learning to share, right? And so I wanted to get her a book, and so she had been in this program with the library uh, by first grade, I think it was, or by kindergarten, 1,000 books by kindergarten, and every, like, certain number of books, she gets a prize, where we go back to the library, and she picks out a prize book, and, like, she keeps it. And maybe, like, a week after I was talking to my wife about getting a book on sharing, for my daughter, she reached her milestone. We went to the library, and she got herself a book, like, she picked it out herself, and it was a book on sharing. And so those kind of things, they kind of just happen. I think those, they continue to happen, and they happen more often when you're just doing whatever you love, and like, you're vibrating, like, at a higher, frequency. And if everyone does it together, then everyone will experience, like, I think, like, the idea of, like, abundance, or, like, where, like, you don't, like, you don't go without, because things just happen, right? The universe provides, um, um, which is something that I absolutely, like, believe. um, I agree, yeah, absolutely, which is why they take away your creative options all their school. Yeah, man. So, school is a factory for workers, basically. I think it goes back to, like, what was it, the Gilded Age, when the, whatchamacallit, um, the Rockefellers dudes, and, like, those people, they didn't want, like, competition. They just kind of wanted workers, and so the education system ended up reflecting that, just producing a bunch of workers. What about greed? The evil and corrupt won't allow a utopia like that. You see, that's the thing. That's where the split happens. Like the people that are remaining in third density that refuse to change, that they're going to continue, vibrating at a lower frequency. That's going to stay in its own reality. At some point, if it, like when it reaches like a certain critical mass, the split is going to happen, and the people that that are vibrating at a lower frequency, they're just going to stay in their own timeline, their own world, and they're probably going to end up like blowing each other up or something. Like something else going to happen to them. But I don't know. That's all them. And so that's where this split comes into play. And so really, what it comes down to is like we can't really focus on that. Like you can't really like, and I've been guilty of it. Like I love to post like the conspiracy theory stuff, and like it's so bleak, like it's so fucked up that it's kind of easy to get sucked into all of that. But you gotta, at the end of the day, you kind of like well, maybe not at the end of the day, right? Like whenever you become conscious of it, like you kind of just gotta come back to yourself and say, no, that at the end of the day, it's not like whatever I'm being fed, into my for you page or whatever. Like I don't have to roll with any of that. Like I create my internal, like I create my internal state, right? Like we can create our internal state to reflect something that is not what is given to us, which is like the fear and stuff like that. Like we don't have to follow that. And that's ultimately what I want to talk about at some point in this streams. Um, um, like I talk about it in the dreams and rabbit holes, the alchemy, the internal alchemy, internal alchemy, um, where you can change your internal state to reflect something that is more in line to what you want to live, and through that you create your own your future that way. And so yeah, like when it comes to like that greed and that like corrupt governments and stuff, I try not to uh, um, just don't like internalize it, don't accept it as something that is going to affect you in some sort of way. um, and then you can, you know as long as you're willing to stand up, and voice, uh, um, voice what you really believe, and like speak up against it, I think you're fine. um, but yeah, that, yeah, I don't focus on, I try not to, I guess, focus on that. It's so, I don't know, it's like the way the algorithms are built, it's so easy to like just get sucked into it. uh, um, like I used to get sucked into like the like videos of like ICE, like picking people off the streets and stuff like that, really get me angry. uh, um, and so I kind of just had to like, I choose not to give it importance. Yeah, that's it. You don't give it importance. You can give, like, you can feel compassion for them, right? Like you watch it happen, like on the video, and it's like there's no need to like turn off, like or like feel apathy towards it. Um, but like you can from a distance, say like, oh, like uh, um, my compassion to them, right? Like that's not, it's not the it's not the reality that I choose to live in, but you know that's um, Like my heart goes out to them. You know, God bless them. Don't forget that everything that made it onto any screen, whoever watched it in our life, was severely vetted and designed to strip us of something as soon as it hits our eyes. Yeah, like you're talking about like propaganda, like everything that goes on to like movies or news or whatever is fed to us. Um, yeah. So, oh, speaking of that, so there's a new documentary that came out on the UFO TVs and news headlines. Yeah, radio also, absolutely. There's this new documentary called "The Age of Disclosure." I don't know if you guys have watched that. I watched it pirated because I'm not gonna fucking pay $20 for a rented UFO documentary. I figured that there would be nothing new on it, and I was right. There's nothing new. Like if you watch like the podcasts, if you watch the interviews, uh, um, and it's all the same information. If anything, maybe it's just confirmation that some of it is true, but also some of the people on the documentary like are, you know, liars. So who knows? So in a way, it doesn't change anything, other than maybe they admitted to having UFO like crash retrieval and what's it called, um, back engineering program, which is something that we've known since the '90s, right? Since fucking Bob Lazar. Um, and I think that guy is still the most credible one because to my uh, understanding from what I've heard, Bob Lazar is like a persona non grata. Like you can't talk about that guy. Like you talk about that guy, you get like like demoted or whatever. Like they just don't talk about that guy, and so that tells me that he's probably, you know, he probably knows some shit. Yeah, those guys have been at it forever. Yeah, and then the main guy, I think the one of the producers, the main producer, is what's his face, Lou Elizondo, and this guy puts out like he put out twice. He put out pictures that were debunked in like a day or two, I think it was, and and then his defense was that they were given to him because these happen at like conventions, and so his defense uh, was that they gave him those pictures right before he went on stage, and then it's like, dude, like you're a counter intelligence officer, you wouldn't fucking vet those things for 2 seconds before you put them out, and so I don't know. I'm careful to throw the baby out with the cat with the bathwater. Um, where's the cat? Um, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here, right? But also, I don't know. I guess seems full of shit. Uh, um, if anything, I'm more inclined to listen to the people that get ostracized and get laughed at, like David Icke or what's his face, David Grush. David Grush almost got murdered. I think he was assaulted um, recently, a few months ago, maybe. And so so I know David Grush and Louis Lozano have some sort of beef, and so that kind of makes me believe David Grush more. Um, And when you hear him talk, he kind of just talks. He comes off as someone that is like honest, someone that's like actually cares for justice and cares for truth. With Lou, you can tell like this guy's hiding some shit. Like I don't know, I don't I don't trust that guy. But yeah, I'm more inclined to listen to those people, to the people that get ostracized or that get laughed at or they get silenced. I think those are the people worth listening to. I agree. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna end the stream soon. I'm gonna go ahead and work on that. I'm gonna crush out, dude. Yeah, me too, man. I'm gonna go ahead and log out in a little bit. So I'm gonna make the Discord so we can ostracize. What's ostracized? Oh, when they like, I enjoyed this. Me too. Um, when they get outcasted, like you know, if they kind of point you as like an other, like kind of just like pushed aside. Uh, um, that's kind of what it means. I don't know the dictionary definition for sure, but that's kind of the context that it's used in. Alienated, yeah, there you go, alienated. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna work on that Discord group so we can start sharing some remote viewing targets, so we can practice. All right, man. I had fun. We'll do this another time. Again, at some point I'll get a better camera, and I'll see if I can get the chat working on the screen um, for next time. Good night, y'all.